Well, hey everybody, Jeff McWilliams, longtime solar member here. I'm sitting in my car on an early Tuesday morning. It's a little bit foggy today, so my apologies if the lighting isn't so great. Why am I here? Well, as some of you may or may not know, this year is the 40th anniversary of the solar organization. 40 years, that's an impressive amount of time for an organization to be leading adventures and teaching outdoor skills to other members of the club. As you may also know, I am a big fan of map and compass. I do adventure racing. I'm a member of Southern Michigan's Orienteering Club. I go out of state and do some adventure races and orienteering events there as well. And nothing excites me more than poring over a set of maps, trying to figure out the best route for an upcoming backpacking trip. So in thinking about the 40th anniversary of the club, I reached out to Karen Hartunian, who is currently the club's historian, and asked her how long has the club been teaching map and compass skills. And she dug through the history books for the organization and found that as early as 1980, members of the club were sharing map and compass skills with other members and teaching them how to use map and compass navigation techniques out in the woods. So that's about 35 years worth of map and compass skills that have been taught through the organization, which I think is pretty cool. Which got me thinking about the anniversary and all those years of people being taught map and compass techniques. Why don't I do something special or interesting to sort of celebrate that milestone? Which brings me here today to talk about a set of land navigation challenges that I'd like to introduce to members of the club that are with us today. So this challenge isn't anything necessarily unique or new. It's much like a geocache. Geocaching's been around since May of 2000, when the very first geocache was placed somewhere near Portland, Oregon, and announced online. And currently there are more than 2 million geocaches placed throughout the world that people are out looking for. This is my interpretation of that, something offered exclusively to club members that I hope people will enjoy and come out and spend some time looking for. So what do I have? I've got a typical large cache container here. The classic ammo can. These are great because they're durable, they're weather resistant, and they're also cheap, and they're big enough that you can stash some goodies in there for others to find and not be too hard to find themselves. So I'm going to hide this container somewhere out in the woods, and I'm going to place a couple of premium items in there that might give you some incentive to come out and find this cache. Now when you do find it, I'd ask you to limit taking one item per group or individual that comes out, and leave the rest of the items for the other people to come out and also find. So the first item I'm going to place in the cache today is the Sol emergency bivvy. Now, if you're familiar with the typical silver space blanket that you can find for about $2 and that you might break out in an emergency scenario to stay warm, same idea with the emergency bivvy, but I think this is a much better product. First of all, it's a lot more durable than the emergency blanket. It's reusable. It comes in its own little stuff sack, so if you're careful about rolling it back up when you're done using it, you can put it back in the stuff sack and save it for next time. And because it's a bivvy sack that you climb into, it's going to protect you a lot better from the weather and keep you warmer if you really were in an emergency situation. I keep one of these in my pack whenever I do any sort of serious day hiking. I took one with me when I climbed Long's Peak in Colorado last year, and several years ago when I was attempting the 24-hour Great Range Traverse in New York. This was what I kept in my pack because it was October, and you never know if you get stuck out there and you have to wait for someone to be rescued. I would much rather depend on something like this to stay a little bit warmer than a cheap emergency blanket. So this is going in the cache container. for this round. The next item I'll be putting in the container today is a fire steel. This is a great little survival tool. If you ever watch Bear Grylls reality television shows, he's made these really popular. He's always starting fires with these. But I think more than just starting fires, these are great for starting your stove, whether it's a white gas stove or an alcohol stove, or even a canister stove that doesn't have a piezo igniter on it. This is a great tool to start that. Unlike matches, you don't have to keep them dry or worry about them getting wet. And unlike a lighter, you don't have to worry about whether or not your butane lighter has enough fuel for your next trip. So this is a handy little thing to have. I'll add that to the canister. Next, I've got some Tenacious Tape tattoos. So these are made from Gear Aid, the same company that makes a lot of other little gear repair items, such as sill net and seam grip. This is Tenacious repair tape, so you can use this repair tape to repair a tear or a small hole on your hard shell jacket. A nice puffy jacket like this, maybe you got a spark from a fire that landed on your puffy and created a small hole. This is a great way to repair that. You can also repair leaks on your inflatable sleeping pad. Now what's great about the Tenacious Tape tattoos is instead of just having a boring little oval or square piece of repair tape on your clothing item or your gear, these are cut into some cool little shapes that add a little style and pizzazz to your repair. And this particular set is a set of Sasquatch shaped cutouts, which are pretty cool. So these make a great way to repair a gear item and still be kind of classy. Finally, I've got a couple vintage solar logo stickers. These are really old school. I want to thank Jennifer Tislerix for giving me a bunch of these to hand out in these navigation challenges. We don't make them in this style anymore. I think there's some works being worked on where we're going to have some newer solar stickers available sometime soon. But if you're looking for a vintage sticker to put on an Nalgene bottle or your back window or whatever, these are great. Snag one of these from the container. Lastly, I do have some Leave No Trace quick reference cards that I will put in the canister as well. I'm a big believer in Leave No Trace. It's always a good idea to have a reminder of the Leave No Trace concepts and be thinking about that when you're out hiking in the wilderness. So those are going in there. There's also a logbook and a pencil in the canister, so if you want to log visiting the container with your name and date, that would be great. This is a Right in the Rain logbook, so it's weather resistant. It's not going to fall apart like a regular paper one is. So there's a logbook and paper and pencil in there. So how's this going to work? I will post the coordinates for this container on the Solar Outdoors Yahoo group. So go in there and look for a discussion message titled 40th Anniversary Land Navigation Challenge, written by me. There you will find coordinates. You will also find links to a small tutorial that will teach you how to use an online tool called topo that you can use if you would like to create a paper map that shows the coordinates on the map. So that'll give you a topo map that you can then use with map and compass and come out and find this cache. It's not going to be terribly hard to find. You're looking for a large green metal container. There's only so many places in the woods where I can hide something like that. So when you get in the area, think about where I might try to hide something like that. You can also use GPS, or if you have a geocaching application on your smartphone or a GPS navigation application on your smartphone, you can use those too. Keep in mind that Solar has several GPS units that paid members can borrow for free. So if you're familiar with GPS, if you've taken my advanced land navigation class, you're welcome to borrow one of those. According to the normal gear rental rules, see the equipment chairperson about that. Please don't ask him for a tutorial on how to use the GPS units. He has our equipment chairperson is focused on maintaining the equipment, not giving instruction on how to use gear. If you'd like to learn how to use a GPS, talk to me. I'll be teaching that as part of the advanced land navigation class this fall. Also, when you get your find, if you'd like to take some pictures and share them on our Facebook page, that would be great. If you have any comments, questions, or whatever, you can contact me or ask a question through the Facebook group. I'll be checking in occasionally. Also, if the idea of going out and looking for an item with just map and compass or GPS is something that you can't even fathom having the skills to do, Solar will once again be offering a basic land navigation class this spring, which is a map and compass class. I will be involved, and I will be offering a advanced land navigation class this fall. The advanced class covers advanced map and compass topics. We also talk about the use of GPS and coordinate systems, as well as using software tools for trip planning and route analysis, as well as satellite communication tools that you may want to take on an adventure for various purposes. So I'm going to go and place this cache. It's looking like it's going to be a great weekend. The forecast is calling for temperatures in the 40s. What a perfect time to go out and do a little tromping around in the woods. With that being said, temperatures that high, it could get a little sloppy in the afternoon. You might want to come out earlier when things are still frozen and have better footing. This time of year, I always wear microspikes for traction control. It can get slippery out there, especially if you're bushwhacking cross country and climbing in and out of steep terrain. So that's it. Look for the posting on the Solar Outdoors Yahoo group for the coordinates for this. Come on out and have some fun navigating. Thanks a lot.